PAX, I just want to let you know your face looks weird. Yeah, I get that a lot. It's the fine line between the silver and the blue paint on my forehead, isn't it? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I figured. Can't wait for my final form version to come out eventually. Hey, same here. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new Yolopark Transformers 1 Orion PAX, or Optimus Prime. Now this one I'm most excited for because we've already taken a look at B127, Elita 1, and D16, so now we're going to take a look at Orion PAX, which is basically just an Optimus Prime figure, or pre-Optimus Prime. And I love Optimus Prime figures, especially if it's from Yolopark. Now, about the character, this is the first time we ever get to see Orion Pax in a movie. He was mentioned in TV shows, I think video games as well, and comics, but this is the first time we really ever get to see a pre-Optimus Prime in the big screen. Yeah, he was a little comedic, but it turned out it wasn't as comedic to a point where it kind of messes the character up. I'd say Orion Pax's comedic moments were careful, but at the same time retained the humor, if that makes any sense. But overall, the transformation from Orion Pax to Optimus Prime was absolutely fantastic. Just seeing the Matrix being handed out to him kind of reminded me of Transformers Prime, as there was a similar scene that played out in a flashback. But anyways, back to the figure, but before we take a look at the unboxing, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Starting off on the front, you get this nice artwork of Optimus Prime and his alt mode, and the rest is basically just all words, names, and logos. On the top is the main protagonist, only they're upside down, and Elita 1's face is blocked by this stamp. That's like the second time that happened in a row. On the bottom is the usual. On one side is more of just an artwork of Orion Pax and more words, names, and logos. The same thing on the other side, it's just there's an artwork of Orion Pax posed differently than on the other side. But when you turn to the back, on the top shows you the different scalings for the protagonists, such as the cogless, cogged, and final forms, or at least for Optimus and Megatron, which those two will be getting their own Yolopark figures in the future. Can't wait for those. And on the bottom is some info of what you get inside the packaging, as well as instructions? But anyways, the box opens up on the front to reveal all the body parts, and on the back of the lid shows a couple of product shots of Orion Pax posed in various ways. Some of them look pretty cool, actually. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for the packaging. Now moving on to the unboxing, which unlike D16, when I did get this guy from the mail, the tape was not removed, so anyhow I'll be doing that manually. And here we have Orion Pax somewhat out of the packaging. I just gotta remove him from this little bubble and assemble him. So cue the build, I guess. And here we have Yolopark Orion Pax fully assembled. First off, I wanted to point out that the assembly is alright. But anyways, I'm kind of impressed by how this figure looks. The design of the toy seems faithful to replicate the design of the animation model used in the movie. So far, the painting and sculpting, pretty good, pretty good. The painting mostly consists of silver, dark gray, blue, and red, with a smidge of yellow and a different type of blue, of course, for the eyes. Oh, and the head sculpt is, I don't know, I'm not all that impressed with the head sculpt as much as I thought I would be. There's just something off about the face that it just doesn't look like the face that we saw in the movie. Still a cool head sculpt, I guess. Now, for quality and kibble, let's just start off with kibble. Since this is a Yolopark figure, there is no kibble, or at least no obvious truck kibble parts that shouldn't be there. Yeah, that's not present with this figure. Since Yolopark doesn't have to worry about these figures transforming at all, most of the budget just goes to the design of the toy and enhanced articulation. Now, for quality, or at least on my copy, I guess it's alright. Again, I would like to point out that I just got this figure out of the packaging, and of course I did fully assemble him. He's still relatively stiff in certain parts. However, I will say that the shoulders are ridiculous, as by moving this out, that happens. That's not supposed to happen, I guess. Oh, and by the way, if you move the bicep rotation a little too much, it does pop off. Not on the right arm, and I guess another relative issue in quality is this part is a little cracked, which holds the ball joint for the foot, meaning the left foot untabs like this, when in the assembly, which was earlier on in this video, tabbing the foot onto the leg involved a tab pegging into a slot rather than a ball joint pegging into a slot. After all, this ball joint did come from the leg, but I guess for my copy, from now on the foot just untabs with the ball joint intact, and to be completely honest, it doesn't generate any problems I have for my copy, or at least for now. So overall, the QC is alright. It's just the shoulder pads could have been handled a little better. I don't want PAX's shoulder pads basically falling apart when simply just moving it forward. But anyways, I guess it's time we move on to the accessories. Starting off with his pair of fist hands, which in my opinion are his primary pair of hands. Also, why exactly is the middle finger sticking out a little more than the other fingers? That's not a reference to the movie, is it? Hey, Darkwing, my lawyer advised me not to finish the joke. Anyways, the second hands are more of a relaxed pair of hands, which in my opinion serve best as a hands up Orion PIX pose. Next is this hand, which specifically goes to the right arm, which can serve best as the transform and roll out type of pose. And lastly, there's also the trigger finger hand, which exclusively goes to the left arm, which I guess would come in handy if you came with a gun. But what if I told you this figure does come with a gun, much like Elita? So anyhow, here he is equipped with the gun. This was not easy to plug into the hand. I just want to let everybody watching this video be aware of that in case they ever get this figure. Honestly, it's a shame that the Ion Blaster never made an appearance in the movie. This gun just seems plain. Looks like something you'd see from Halo. But nonetheless, I guess it's a cool looking gun. Oh, and you could get this figure into that iconic pose, or at least try to. This figure's not all that great in doing that. And of course, much like the other Yolopark figures of the protagonists, there is no weapon storage for Orion PAX and his gun whatsoever. So your best bet is to just have this figure holding the gun. Anyways, that's the gist of the accessories. Not much going on other than a gun and a few posable hands. But did we see any other accessories that Orion PAX was equipped with in the movie other than that Promethean-ish Halo 4 looking gun? No. Anyways, let's talk about the articulation. Starting off tight, ball joint at the head. There's no extra neck, so it's just basically just one ball joint instead of a double ball joint. But anyways, it still allows for a swivel and an up and down movement, full rotation at the arm, butterfly joint. Shoulder pads can shift upwards, only it's a little tight. In case you're wondering, the shoulder pad is on a double hinge movement. Bend at the shoulder, double bend at the elbow, bicep swivel, tight ball joint at the wrist, which allows an up and down, side to side, and a swivel, forward double jointed ab crunch, side to side double ab crunch, chest swivel, waist swivel. Side skirts are on ball joints, which can allow them to move upwards, which can also allow for a somewhat safe spread at the legs. Leg can move forward, can also move backwards. Thigh swivel, double bend at the knee, which reveals some minor mechanical detail. The foot is on a ball joint, which allows an up and a down, side to side, and swivel. And lastly, the front of the foot can move up and down. And that's pretty much it for articulation. Of course, since this is a Yolopark figure, the articulation is going to be a little more enhanced than your average articulation for a Hasbro Transformers figure. But anyways, with the articulation out of the way, we can move on to size comparison. Starting off, here he is next to the Yolopark TFONE B127, Elita 1, D16, and then for some Rise of the Beasts Yolopark figure comparisons, here he is alongside the Yolopark Rise of the Beasts Bumblebee, Yolopark Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, Yolopark Rise of the Beasts Scourge, and then for some other TF1 toys I own, here he is next to the Prime Changers Orion PAX, Alpha Trion, the Quintesson High Commander, B127, Sentinel Prime, Studio Series TF1 Optimus Prime, and Studio Series TF1 Megatron. For a few more primes, here he is alongside the Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, and lastly the Masterpiece MPM Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. Here he is alongside the main TF1 protagonists, and you know what? It's good to see the team finally completed. It only took roughly 2 to 3 months after the official release of these figures to finally review them and have them all together. There is also the AMK mini-series cogless versions of the main protagonists, but I'm not interested in those. I simply just wanted to focus on the main AMK series TF1 protagonists. But anyways, here he is, along with all the other TF1 figures I own. Again, the small TF1 figure collection is slowly building up figure by figure. I'm sure if I got other stuff like the AMK miniseries cogless minor versions of the main protagonist, the leader class scale, Japanese exclusive Optimus Prime from Takara, or even the Blockies and 3-0 TF1 figures, I'm sure this collection would grow significantly bigger, but I'm not interested in those. Again, I hope for more Yolopark AMK Pro Series and Studio Series TF1 figures to surface later in the future, but I think we're all just gonna have to be patient on that, as there's figures of characters from other continuities that would also be great to be seen in the Studio Series and Yolopark. But again, be sure to let me know in the comments which character from TF1 you would like to see being made into the Studio Series or Yolopark. And be sure to let me know in the comments which Yolopark TF1 main protagonist figure you like most. For me personally, it's gonna have to be D16. I really like that figure. The other three are great, but in my personal opinion, I ended up enjoying the Yolopark D16 a little more. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I had to say for this guy. Overall, he's a pretty great Yolopark figure. The details are alright, except for maybe the head, it's a little off. But if you're looking to complete the main protagonist in Yolopark figure form, then this guy is most definitely a pickup. If you are looking to pick this figure up, he's available over at Amazon and Yolopark.com for roughly the same amount of money, with taxes and shipping combined. We're talking a total of roughly $40, so it just depends on where you want to pick this figure up. If you're looking for a quicker delivery, I suggest Amazon. But either way, the choice is yours. Now anyways, I cannot wait for the Yolopark TF1 Optimus Prime version, which looks absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to pick that up next year or the following year. But anyways, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about this figure. Do you like him? Are you going to pick him up? Do you not like him? Are you not going to pick him up? And with that being said, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button, as this YouTube channel is slowly inching its way to 9K. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. Teo!